So with Fathom Events, in my particular case, announcing that a week from Thursday and a week from Saturday, they will be showing at participating theaters G.I. Joe the Movie, the 1987 animated film, which, by the way, never, ever, ever saw a theatrical release when it was first made. Originally, here's the thing about it. Originally, it was supposed to hit theaters, but because of production delays and everything, that was changed. Mostly, it was changed due to the fact that the movie that had to be switched out for its release date, Transformers the Movie, and the one that came before it, My Little Pony the Movie, G1 that, by the way, both flopped at the box office. I am not joking. Even though I'm assuming MLP G1's movie might have been in the top 10 or just barely there of highest grossing animated films, it flopped. It was considered a box office bomb. And to follow it, G.I. Joe, not G.I. Joe, but Transformers the Movie 86 was considered a box office bomb as well. So what did Hasbro do? Instead of following through and saying, you know what, third time's a charm, let's see what happens, they decided to take G.I. Joe the Movie and put it into syndication. Not just syndication, but on straight-to-video platforms as well, through through distributors like Kid Classics. Not Family Home Entertainment, but Kid Classics. Yeah, you would think they would have gone through Family Home Entertainment, which I think they did later on, but the first initial release was through Kids Classic. So, yeah, instead of obviously thinking to themselves third time could be the charm, they decided not to, take their chances, and they put the movie straight to syndication and straight to home video. And I remember, as I've mentioned before, I remember exactly where I was, because I was like, I think I just turned 8 years old at that time, or just around that time frame. I just turned 8, and one of the things I'd like to do was skim through the TV guide and mostly look at Friday and Saturday to see what was coming on, because Friday and Saturdays back then were always looked at as nights of, here's a special animated presentation for the family, or here's Saturday morning, here's some of the new stuff coming out, or whatever. And I remember looking at the TV guide one year, looking through it, and I saw in gray boldness right at the top, where it was listed as KTVU Channel 2, now known as Fox 2, it said from 7 to 9, G.I. Joe the Movie. And imagine 8-year-old me looking at that and being like, what the heck? I couldn't believe it. And I told my parents, and we all watched it when it came out. Just like we watched Transformers the Movie when it came out on home video, we all watched G.I. Joe the Movie, because, back then as a kid, and I'm sure it's kind of carried over even to this day, but back then as a kid, whenever a movie came out based on your favorite toy franchise or cartoon franchise or whatever, whenever that came out, you had to go and see it. You had to go and watch it. And, that's what we did. And now, 35 years later, it's getting its proper, due. It's getting its proper due. And just imagine that. 35 years. 35 years. I'm going to be 43 within a month. Yeah, a little over a month. Basically within a month and a half. What's today? The 12th? So, yeah. I will be basically, because I know, 30 days from now is July 12th. So you add in 13 more days. Okay, so within 43 days, exactly, I will be 43 myself. So imagine how old this makes me, knowing that 35 years ago, 8-year-old me watched it for the first time in syndication, and now I've got the opportunity on the 25th, if things go exactly as planned, to go see it on the big screen. That is something I could have never imagined ever happening, but now I've got that opportunity. I've got that opportunity right in front of me, and I'm not going to let it slip by. But with this announcement, it made me think to myself, Fathom Events, which, in case you guys don't know, Fathom Events is a company that, works with theaters like AMC, Regal, Cinemark, you name it. They work with these theater chains to bring out for one, if not two night situations, or 1 day, 2 day situations. They work with them to release these films, either the documentaries, celebrations, or in this case, animated films that have yet to be on the big screen or haven't been on the big screen in a while. They work with theater chains to give these movies an opportunity to be on the big screen, to be seen as, I guess the filmmakers, the creators at the time, and even fans at that time were always hoping they'd be intended to be seen, on the big screen, in high def and all that, whatever the case may be. And, they've done this with a lot of stuff. Of course, they did it with Transformers the movie last year for their 35th anniversary. Obviously, they're going to do it again for the 40th, there's no doubt. They did it with, believe it or not, they did it with the Betty White celebration. They've done it with Forever Golden, a Golden Girls documentary. They're doing it with Nolan Ryan's documentary. They are known to do all these things for one and if not two nights. Heck, they did it with what was it? The Rocky IV movie. The way it was meant to be seen. They did it with that. They did it with Rocky IV as it was meant to be seen. They did that last year. Heck, they did it recently with The Godfather. They recently did it with The Godfather. So, Fathom Events is known to be, very deep, if you will, into trying to give all these classic films, or all these documentaries, an opportunity to be seen in front of a big, huge audience, so that once they do get that release on home video or digital release, people, if they didn't see it, will want to see it. They will want to see it, period. And to me, when I look at something like from my childhood, like Transformers and now G.I. Joe, getting that opportunity, I cannot praise a company like Fathom Events any more than, what a kid growing up in the 80s, in the 90s could praise them for. Because this to me is an opportunity for all of us that grew up as Hasbro kids, that love G.I. Joe, love Transformers, love My Little Pony, love Gem, to have the opportunity to go and see one of those movies that they had basically had a blueprint, made out for, to finally see it, get its due, to finally get its appropriate due on the big screen like it was originally meant to be. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see that on the big screen. And it's going to have never before seen extras and all that, whatever that's going to be. So I'm excited. I am really, really excited. But with that said, though, I was thinking to myself, what other movies, animated and live action, could Fathom Events bring to the big screen? What other movies could they bring to the big screen for one, if not two nights or 1 or 2 day events? Now, some of these choices you might say would never happen. Well, guess what? Nowadays, I don't put anything past, a company like Fathom Events and, what could make them some money, along with bringing, whatever they're being hired to bring to the theaters. Basically what I'm saying is, I would not put anything past Fathom Events, period, if it's going to make them money, along with the company that's hiring them to release whatever they want on the big screen, even for 1 or 2 nights, or 1 or 2 days, down the line. I wouldn't put it past them if it's going to make both sides money. That's what I'm trying to say. I know I almost stumbled on my words there, so I do apologize. But I wouldn't put it past them to do it. I wouldn't. So some of these titles that I'm going to list off, you might say it's not possible, but if Fathom Events wants to make money, they will consider it. They would greatly consider it, especially if it's going to make the party hiring them money and make them money at the same time. So, with that said, I have 12, that's right, 12 movies or potential theatrical screenings, if you will, that I believe Fathom Events could bring to the big screen for 1 or 2 nights as part of, the Fathom Events lineup in the future. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, what are the movies I have chosen? What are the movies and stuff that I've chosen that I believe Fathom Events could bring to the table, bring to the big screen in the future, even if maybe you feel that wouldn't happen, but nowadays you never know, with a company like Fathom. Well, if you're going to get people back into theaters, and you're going to have a company like Fathom Events being like, hey, we're going to help you do that by doing these things, like G.I. Joe the movie, then I think, honestly, these titles, in my opinion, are the best choice. So without further ado, let's take a look at these titles. So, the first title or movie I think that Fathom Events should look at as a re-release for 1 or 2 nights or 1 or 2 days in the theaters is another 80s animated classic, or at least as far as kids are concerned growing up in the 80s, something they would love to definitely see on the big screen. And it's been on the big screen before. Ironically, its history is kind of weird because it was on the big screen, and then about a few months later or so, if not a few weeks later, or whatever the case was, it was on television in 5 parts. Of course, I'm talking about He-Man and She-Ra, The Secret of the Sword. That's right. I truly believe Universal, DreamWorks, the people that I believe own the rights right now to the series, I think honestly they need to work out a deal with Fathom Events and bring He-Man and She-Ra, Secret of the Sword, back to theaters. I really think they should do that, especially with the fact that next year we will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the overall Masters of the Universe animated series. You heard me right. 1983 was when He-Man and Masters of the Universe, the animated series from Filmation, debuted, and that was followed up in 1985, I believe, by She-Ra and her debut in The Secret of the Sword. So to me, when I look at one way to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the overall animated portion of the Masters of the Universe franchise that started it all, then I can't think of any better way than to go with Secret of the Sword. Now, if you don't want to do it in 2023, then I would say do it in 2024, or at least put it into the lineup, put it into the waiting list of movies you're going to bring, I should say, to the big screen for 1 or 2 nights to celebrate its anniversary. And like I said, I think Secret of the Sword is one good way, I should say, of doing it. Either next year to celebrate the beginning of the 40th anniversary, or you could wait to at least 2024, 2025 to do it. But I think next year would be a very appropriate time because, like I said, you're celebrating 40 years of the animated series that really helped put the Masters of the Universe franchise on the map. And by doing so, you not only are you helping to celebrate that occasion, but you're giving a lot of kids that grew up in the 80s, like myself, an opportunity to see for the first time ever, if not for the first time since its initial release on the big screen, the Secret of the Sword movie. So to me, Secret of the Sword needs to get that opportunity on the big screen sooner rather than later. And I can't think of a more appropriate time than 2023, celebration of the 40th anniversary of the original Filmation series that began it all, to do so. So to me, Secret of the Sword, He-Man and She-Ra, should be, one of those movies that Fathom Events considers doing and releases onto the big screen in time for the 40th anniversary next year. Alright, the next one, of course, is another 80s franchise based on toys and everything that became a huge hit and everything. And it was released around the same time as Transformers the movie was. But of course it was released, I think they said it was released a little before it. And of course I'm talking about GoBots, Battle of the Rock Lords. Hasbro, you own the rights to GoBots now. You obviously own the rights, I think, to an extent to Battle of the Rock Lords, or the Rock Lords period. So I can't think of a better other option maybe in the future, just, to, especially let's say during the summer or something like that. I can't think of a better, a better option, I can't think of a better option for a summer Fathom event, especially on the weekends or during summer vacation, or the summer season, I should say, especially with summer vacation for a lot of people happening. I can't think of a better animated film to put onto the big screen to kind of breathe new life into it, because you don't really see this movie that much unless you type it in on YouTube. You can find it there, unless you burn the unless you find a good torrent of it and you download it and you put it onto DVD like I did. That's the only other way, or you're lucky enough to buy the VHS. Whatever viewing option you have, you don't see it getting that much love anymore. And to me, this is one of those movies that, in my opinion, you give it a chance on the big screen, even for one weekend or 1 week, or just a few days throughout that week, during a summer season like now, and there's no doubt in my mind it will rekindle interest in people's love for the franchise, and it might even cause Hasbro to be like, okay, maybe we do need to re-release the GoBots line as its own, separate entity, and see what happens. And they might be surprised. So to me, just to kind of give it some recognition, kind of, show that they acknowledge the existence of GoBots and everything, I think Hasbro should work out a deal with Fathom Events to release Battle of the Rock Lords onto the big screen for at least 1 week, if not for a few days throughout that week, during the summer season, maybe this year or next year. But I highly I highly believe they should do it, because again, the one thing Fathom Events does sometimes, even if it doesn't make sense, is they put these movies out on the big screen because they know it breathes new life and interest into them. And to me, GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords is one of those films that I think does deserve that opportunity. So to me, the other 80s franchise that I grew up on that I think should have a second chance with its movie on the big screen is GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords. Fathom Events, get talking with Hasbro. You won't regret it. So the next one I think is very appropriate, and I think definitely has a chance of being released this year, because this year marks 25 years since its release. And of course I'm talking about James Cameron's Titanic, and I can't think of a better time for it to be re-released, even through Fathom Events, than in conjunction I should say, with the new Avatar film coming out later this year. Because if you want a great way, a very positive way of, and financially successful way of promoting James Cameron's next film, then re-releasing for its 25th anniversary Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, I think is the best way to go, the best direction to go. And I think they already have it in the planning stages. So to me, even if they don't have it in the planning stages yet, which I'm sure they do, I think they should get on it right away, because again, you want to help promote James Cameron's new movie, The Way of Water, the Avatar 2 movie. Then putting Titanic out, I think, would be the best option, in my opinion. No doubt in my opinion, it would be the best option. But that's just my opinion. But Fathom Events, I'm sure you're already on it. But if not, get on it. Get in contact with James. I'm sure you already had. But if not, get in contact with him. Because if you really want to get in his good graces, and James, if you want people to really get interested in Way of Water, then Titanic being re-released for its 25th anniversary for 1 or 2 nights, to me, is the best option to go with. So get on that right away. Alright, so another film I think they should put into the category from the 80s, although it wasn't based on any franchise that I know of, but it was a huge hit when it came out. That is, of course, the 88 anime classic Akira. I don't think I have to say any other reasoning as to why Fathom Events should get on this. They have done it before, I think, and I'm sure they would love to do it again, because if there's any thriving market out there that really financially will succeed at the box office, courtesy of Fathom Events releasing it, it's anime. And in this case, we're talking about one of the most influential animes in history. And to me, I can't think of any other reason. I mean, next year, believe it or not, will be its 35th anniversary. So if you don't do it at the end of this year, I can't think of any other reason why you couldn't do it in 2023. So Fathom Events, if you don't do it at the end of this year, then you need to start off 2023 with the 35th anniversary release of Akira on the big screen. You need to do it. And you know why? Because once you do, not only will that get more interest in the possible live action film that they're planning to do, if they're still planning it, but it'll get more interest in the Akira franchise as a whole. So to me, you need for 2023 to start off with a bang. Excuse me, and what better way to start off with a bang than the Akira anime classic, I should say. So yeah, get on that. Akira has got to be on your list for a re-release in theaters, especially with its 35th anniversary on the horizon. Alright, so next up, this is one of those that you might say I'm cheating at, but again, I'm not going to say it's something I wouldn't put past Fathom Events, especially if they really want to get people back into theaters and everything. And do something, and by doing so, do something that nobody would expect. And we've seen it before. We've seen Fathom Events, or companies like them doing this, to kind of give, these kind of stories that big screen treatment that many feel that, they should have had a long time ago. And of course, I'm talking about Jem and the Holograms, not the Blumhouse film. No, I'm talking about Jem and the Holograms. The beginning, the first 5 episodes, which comprise into essentially Jem the movie. The initial movie, that is. Now, a little bit of history. They did have a movie planned for, I believe, 88 as its release year. But because of the box office bombing of MLP G1, Transformers G1, and G.I. Joe, of course, not doing so well. And, well, they did roll right on syndication and home video rentals and all that. But basically, the theatrical financial bombing of the other two, the Jem movie was scrapped. Yeah, there was supposed to be a Jem animated film that was scrapped. Thus, had it been made, it would have completed the, I guess you could say the foursome, the four horsemen of Hasbro's Big Four getting big screen treatments. But again, things happened and they couldn't, do that. But I believe that there's one way they can make up for it, and in the future, if not sooner rather than later, that is to take the first 5 episodes known as the beginning from Jem, the animated series, piece them together as a movie, which I think they have done, and I think Hasbro does have on file. They do have it on file. Take those episodes, if you will, take that one movie, the beginning, put it on the big screen, and I guarantee you, any Hasbro fan that grew up on Jem and the Holograms, grew up on Transformers, grew up on MLP, grew up on G.I. Joe, will go see that. They will. Even if it's for one day, one night, 2 days, 2 nights, whatever, they will see it. So to me, Jem and the Holograms, the beginning movie, which is the first 5 episodes of the series, needs to get a theatrical release courtesy of Fathom Events. Now, again, I know people might say that's kind of stretching it, but hey, we've seen this happen before. I would love to see it happen again. So to me, next up on the list, you got to do Jem and the Holograms, the beginnings movie from the animated series, which is the first 5 episodes on the big screen, because at least that way you make up for the disaster, which was the live action film, if you will, as well as you make up for the fact that Jem was supposed to get an animated film but never did, so here's the next best thing. So to me, Jem and the Holograms, the first 5 episodes known as the beginning movie that is, should get a theatrical release by Fathom Events for 1 or 2 nights or 1 or 2 days in the future. So Fathom Events, get on that. Like I said before, you won't regret it. Alright, another one you might say I'm kind of stretching a little bit here is Sonic the Hedgehog and what I consider the Doomsday Project movie. Basically the final 4 episodes of Season 2. And honestly, I can't think of another better way or any other better way to really celebrate the franchise known as Sonic and its success so far in theaters with the live action films than to take the final 4 episodes of Season 2, which many, like myself, consider the Doomsday Saga or the Doomsday movie when you edit it together like I did and put it on, and put it together as a film. I can't think of a better way than to put those final 4, that final story arc, if you will, on the big screen. And I know, again, some people might say you're stretching it, it will never happen, but here's the thing, like I said, before, never put anything past Fathom. If it's going to make them money, along with the party that's hiring them to do it, then I think everything's going to be a go. And we know that WildBrain owns the rights to SatAM. And if they want to promote Sonic Prime, what better way than to, get that movie, or get those final 4 episodes together as a movie and put it on the big screen. Get in contact with Fathom Events, saying we're doing this to promote Sonic Prime and potentially who and what you could see. And there you go. There you go. As well as you can also kind of promote the Knuckles series coming on Paramount, the upcoming Sonic 3 movie. A lot could be done. A lot could be done. So to me, I know some people might say it's a long stretch, but I would say take the final 4 episodes, known as the Doomsday Saga, or in my case, the Doomsday Project movie, put them on the big screen, for 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 nights, and you will not regret it. So WildBrain, Team Season, especially Team Season, if you guys want people to, acknowledge what you're doing with Season 3, you will help out as well. Try to get this made into a reality, because I guarantee you, if it happens, it'll be the best thing Fathom Events, animation-wise, has ever helped put onto the big screen, even for the first time. So to me, final 4 episodes of Season 2, the Doomsday Saga, Doomsday Project movie, I believe, should be given the theatrical treatment by Fathom Events. Now this other one might be a long shot too, but I think if Disney really wants to promote the possibility that we could get a second Rescue Ranger live-action CGI hybrid film, or something that could stand on its own accord, maybe even a new series, I think Disney should work with Fathom Events and have them release on the big screen, because they do have it as a whole, the Rescue Rangers movie pilot, To the Rescue. And the reason I say that is because, just like with Jim, as I mentioned earlier, we never got the opportunity to see a Gem animated film on the big screen as originally planned, so putting the beginnings first 5 episodes would be one way of making up for that. Rescue Rangers is kind of in the same boat. Originally they were supposed to get an animated film, but because of the box office bombing of DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp, that did not happen. So to me, what better way to make up for that than to take To the Rescue, the movie pilot, not split into 5 parts, but as a whole, as the whole movie. What better way to do that than went through Fathom Events? So to me, Disney, if I'm you, and I'm feeling like, hey, I could do another Rescue Ranger live-action hybrid CGI film, in the future, based on the success that this one had, then if I'm you, I would put Rescue Rangers To the Rescue on the big screen, courtesy of Fathom Events. Because then, only then, will you see whether or not fans will be interested in a sequel, and I guarantee you, you'll be surprised by the results. But to me, yeah, To the Rescue, it has to go up there on the big screen. No doubt about it, in my opinion. Fathom Events, Disney, get on that. Alright, the next one I think is deserving of a Fathom Events release, even for 1 night or 2 nights. And that's gotta be the that's gotta be the classic Gone with the Wind. I mean, we know they've done it before. Obviously, it's proven to be a success, so why not do it again? Why not do it again? Because to me, especially with the holiday season coming up, and you want to drive in the numbers for the box office, not just along with the big cinematic films you got coming, but also, to I guess you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me rewind here. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, what better movie to put out there than, Gone with the Wind, especially during something like the holiday season, where you're trying to make money, off the box office success of some of the big cinematic films coming out that time of year, but also you want to try to make money elsewhere to, keep thriving, keep the theater alive and everything, cinemas alive. What better film to do it with than Gone with the Wind? I mean, there's a lot of people that have yet to see Gone with the Wind. Yes, you can watch it digitally at home or through physical home media. That is true. I should know because me and my mom both have both versions, digital and physical. But there's a lot of people that, even though you own that physical or digital form, have never seen it on the big screen. And this would be a great opportunity to give the new generation of fans, an opportunity to see what it was like or feel what it was like on the big screen. And you got all this technology to where you can make it feel like the audience is really there. So to me, honestly, you got to go Fathom Events and do another re-release of Gone with the Wind, in my opinion, because I think that will really get people to thrive into the theaters to, for the first time, probably most of them, see it on the big screen as it was originally first seen back in 1939. Alright, the next one is another anime classic, somewhat of I wouldn't say obscure anime classic, but it's one of the more, I guess you could say, complex, if not WTF ones out there. And I'm talking about Revolutionary Girl Utena, the movie, aka Adolescence of Utena. Now this, of course, is based on the manga of the same name, as well as it's a loose adaptation of the anime series that came out. And when I say loose, I'm talking about the fact that the only thing identical to the anime series is the characters, but it's a completely different origin story than what you saw in the anime series. And to me, if there's any movie that's beautifully animated, and everything, even, despite its complex WTF, story, especially the ending, if you know what I mean, that deserves to have a big screen showcasing even for 1 or 2 nights or 1 or 2 days, it's this movie. So to me, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, Adolescence of Utena, aka Revolutionary Girl Utena, the movie, I think is a great option for Fathom Events to bring to the big screen for, like I say, 1 or 2 nights or 1 or 2 days. And I can't think of a better time in the future than, of course, the month of Pride, if you catch my drift. But again, that's just my opinion, but I feel because it's so beautifully animated and everything, you got to see this on the big screen once in your life, and I can't think of a better company to try to make that happen than Fathom Events. So Fathom Events, get in contact with whoever you got to get in contact with and get Adolescence of Utena, Revolutionary Girl Utena, the movie, on the big screen. Alright, the next one I think should be released by Fathom Events, although I think it should only have a 1-day showing, and you heard me there, 1 day, especially on a Saturday maybe, or even a Sunday, and it should be in the summer. Heathcliff the Movie. You heard me right, excuse me there. Heathcliff the Movie, I think, should be, should be a release by Fathom Events, but should only have a 1-day showing. And the reason I say that is it's basically an anthology film, compilation film, with the only bits of original animation being in between all the episodes that they've pieced together for this anthology compilation film. So to help the story be flow through easily. So yeah, to me, for 1 day only, Saturday or Sunday, maybe a random weekday, who knows, during the summer. I think Fathom Events should at least give it one shot, just give it one opportunity on the big screen. That, of course, is Heathcliff the Movie. And maybe it might get the attention of the people that own the rights to Heathcliff right now to say, okay, there's interest still. Let's see if maybe people will want to see more of that. And maybe we'll get a new Heathcliff series, a new movie, maybe a new Cadillac Cat movie. Who knows? But yeah, I think, they should do that. And, it wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time, to be honest with you, when they would, because before Fathom Events, I think, became a thing, back when I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s, and up to the early 2000s, you had all these kid matinees going on during Saturdays, and some of the films that they would show in the kid matinees were movies like Heathcliff. So I think Fathom Events should maybe consider, like I said, for one day doing a showing of Heathcliff the Movie on the big screen to see maybe if there's some interest, in the franchise still, and maybe potentially see a new movie series or something coming out of it. So yeah, Fathom Events, I think you should consider maybe in the future showing Heathcliff the Movie even for one day on a weekday, on a weekend, or a random weekday in the summer. All right, next up, I think obviously nobody would disagree with this. I am talking about Ghost in the Shell, the 1995 film, the anime classic. I think anybody, would not disagree that this film should get a re-release by Fathom Events on the big screen. Again, it's one of the films that they have done in the past, and obviously it's been a success for them, that I think right now they should reconsider it once more for another re-release. I mean, I know the 30th anniversary isn't for another couple of years, but I think to really gain interest in the Ghost in the Shell franchise, which is still obviously going strong to this day, and to really see if there's an audience for another Ghost in the Shell anime movie maybe in the future, I firmly stand in the camp of put this movie out on the big screen for 1 or 2 nights, 1 or 2 days. And I guarantee you, anime enthusiasts will be, I wouldn't say they'd be knocking down the door, but they'd be buying up those tickets to see it on the big screen, maybe for the upteenth time, or maybe even for the first time. So, yeah, to me, I think it's a no-brainer for a special Fathom event in the future. Go with Ghost in the Shell. You got to go with it. And I think fans would really, really appreciate you guys doing that. Like I said, anime enthusiasts, I could see buying up tickets just to see it for the upteenth time, or maybe for the first time on the big screen, to say, hey, not only did I see it at home, but I got to get the experience of the big screen, of seeing it on the big screen as it was originally meant to be seen. So to me, again, it's no-brainer. No-brainer. Because obviously it's made a lot of money for them in the past with re-releases. Why not go for it again? So, last but not least, I think this would be appropriate if they did it this year, which I don't know if they will, but I think for the 5th year anniversary, because believe it or not, it will be 5 years this October 6th. I'm looking at the poster right now. 5 years since My Little Pony the movie, Generation 4, Friendship is Magic, hit the big screen and was a successful box office hit. It wasn't, spectacular or anything, but it was a decently box office hit, to the point that I think Hasbro and Lionsgate made back the money in a big, very decently. They made the money back. And I think because of the fact that it was a success, and there's still a fan base out there obviously for it. I mean, look at look how fans are giving G5 an opportunity. I can't think of a better way to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the MLP film than around October or November around October or November, I should say, than to release it onto the big screen, or re-release it onto the big screen, courtesy of Fathom Events. Fathom Events, I think you'll definitely appreciate doing this, because what you do is you not only make money for yourselves, along with Lionsgate and Hasbro and all them making money on the side as well, but you also show, but also you give the platform for the MLP community to come out and say, hey, we're still here, we're still fans, no matter what the generation is, we are still bronies and Pegasisters to the core. If you catch that little reference there. But yeah, I think this would be a great opportunity later this year if they were to do it. I think it really would be. Because again, not only does it help promote, in a sense, the new generation, but it shows you where that new generation came from or spun off from. So to me, you gotta go with a 5-year anniversary re-release, courtesy of Fathom Events, of the My Little Pony 2017 film. That to me alone, for 1 or 2, and you gotta do it for at least 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 nights. Because that to me, on those 2 nights, those 2 days or nights, will make money. Probably not big wise or buku wise, but it'll make a decent amount of a revenue for the box office that I think Fathom Events afterwards will consider re-releasing it every 5 years for its anniversary. But yeah, for its 5-year anniversary this year, I gotta go with MLP 2017 movie as being one movie. Fathom Events, you got listen up. You gotta put on your list for re-releases in theaters. And that's going to be about it, guys. That's going to be about it for this video. I just wanted to come on here, give you my 12 films that I feel should be put onto the big screen for 1 or 2 nights, courtesy of Fathom Events. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Do you agree with any of my choices? I know some you may not agree with, and that's fine. I'm perfectly cool with that. But let me know what some of them are. Well, not let me. Okay, let me rewrite. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, I know some of you may not agree with my choices, but which ones do you agree with, and what other movies do you think should get that treatment by Fathom Events? Let me know in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, super chat, super stickers will be open during the premiere, and super thanks will be enabled afterwards. So until next time, guys, though, let me know what your thoughts are. Love to hear from each and every one of you, and I'm out.